You're listening to Messy Jesus Business, a podcast about radical gospel living. Hi everyone, I'm Sister Julia Walsh, a writer, spiritual director, and jail minister living in Chicago. Welcome to The Mess. At Messy Jesus Business, we explore how the mess of radical gospel living brings disciples into a life of struggle as we advocate for social justice, live simply, serve others, practice contemplation, and live in community. And now, on to our guest. Brother Matt Wooters is a native of Washington, D.C. He joined the Jesuits in 2012 after graduating from John Carroll University. After college, he served for 2 years with the Jesuit Volunteer Corps in Belize. He holds graduate degrees in social work and theology from St. Louis University and Santa Clara University, respectively. Brother Matt has spent most of his life working with people experiencing homelessness, migrants, and those struggling with addiction. He is an open water swimmer, a podcaster, and a lover of stand-up comedy. In this episode of Messy Jesus Business Podcast, we talk about how Brother Matt became a Jesuit, what it means to be human, and the value of being real in our brokenness together. We discuss how swimming is a form of prayer for Brother Matt and how he has integrated his passion for swimming into his vocation. We consider what it means to give our whole selves to God and our tendency to think we can hide from God at the same time. Finally, we talk about the mess of showing up and how commitment means we have to show up even when the going gets tough. Enjoy. Welcome to Messy Jesus Business,
Hello.
Matt.
It's great to be with you.
Brother Matt Wooters, SJ, Society of Jesus.
Society of Jesus.
Yeah. So you are the vocation promoter for the Jesuits presently. And I understand you also have a degree in social work and a degree in theology. But you're really on the road a lot.
I am on the road a lot. Yeah. So this job, for anyone listening, so I meet with people who are interested in becoming a Jesuit, which means I go and travel and meet them. So wherever they are, if they are from the Midwest or have ties to the Midwest, I will go see them wherever they're at. Sometimes that's down the street, and sometimes that's like very far away.
Yeah. It's interesting being your friend because I never know where you are.
Right.
It's fun. Yeah. That's where
my mom doesn't know where I am ever.
So who knows? Like the people you live with, basically.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So, but you're in the Midwest Jesuits. However, you're from Washington D.C.
That's right.
So how did this happen? Why didn't you join the East Coast Jesuits?
Right. So we have 4 geographical provinces, as we call them, geographical regions for the Jesuits. And so I grew up on the East Coast, went to a Jesuit high school there, and then I went to a Jesuit university in the Midwest. And so that was my tie to Midwest Jesuits. And so I joined the Jesuits 10 or so years ago, and just finished formation. Jesuit formation is notoriously long.
12 years?
That's right. So this is my first assignment, and my first missioning, as we say, after formation.
Yeah. Is this what you ever imagined you'd be doing?
No. I texted someone recently and I was like, joining the largest missionary order in the world, I thought there'd be a lot more like canoeing in the Amazon and a lot less Southwest Airlines. But being a missionary these days looks a little different.
Yeah. It's interesting because I know you, as you know, I'm in a vocation ministry role myself. And so I know you, I think, more intimately that way. Tell me more your story.
Sure.
That's the thing I want to hear about. Why are you saying that you're a missionary?
Sure, yeah. So I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I'm the third of 4 boys in my family. I have a huge Irish Catholic family. I have like 100 or so cousins on each side. So really big family. Church was a big part of our life growing up, kind of culturally Catholic, church on Sundays, Catholic school, literally my entire education, 2 graduate degrees through kindergarten. I've never not been in Catholic school. So, yeah. And for me, becoming a Jesuit felt like, in some ways, a natural next step of who I wanted to be when I grew up, which was I kind of wanted to be on adventures and I wanted to travel a lot. And as I got older, I really liked working with marginalized communities. And so kind of paying attention to my own desires and where was God moving in me, what made me feel alive, and how could I do more of that. And it kind of culminated in becoming a Jesuit. We Jesuits kind of go where the need is greatest, and historically, and right now, apparently the need is for me to be the vocation guy, to go, which is part companion on the journey, part discerner, part spiritual director. So it's a lot of different roles, but mostly I'm not in sales. I think sometimes people think that you and I in vocation work are in sales, and I'm really not interested in selling anything. I believe that everyone has a vocation. I don't believe everyone has a Jesuit vocation. And so my job is to accompany young men to see, where their vocation might be, even if it's not with us.
What is vocation?
Yeah, I think a vocation is a combination of your skills, where you're your best self, and where's the need in the world, and what's something you can't not do. So what's something you keep thinking about? And I think anyone who's married knows there was a point when they were dating where they had to take a next step and they couldn't necessarily put language around it, but they couldn't imagine life without this other person in a very committed way. And so I think a religious vocation is very similar. At some point, you stop flirting with the idea and you have to take a leap.
Do you feel like God's a flirt?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think sometimes God can be, especially if you're discerning, God can be like a gnat that won't go away. It keeps buzzing you.
Like a fruit fly?
Yeah, exactly. Just like try and ignore it. Good luck. I think there's something about that. About the psalmists talk about that of like, you can't get away from it.
Yeah. So is it a destiny? Like I've heard that word used sometimes in other spaces, and myself trying to work through like what is the difference between call and choice, and what things can we actually say no to, and what things does it feel like if you do say no to it, you're kind of lying to yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction. So I mean, St. Ignatius, who in many ways was like the captain of discernment, right? He's kind of known for the spiritual exercises and helping people discern. And he always says discernment is between two goods. So first of all, it's not discernment if it's like a good choice or a bad choice. That's obvious. But what's the thing? Where are you being pulled? And I think for people discerning, they sometimes need to come check it out. And it becomes very obvious if it's good for them or not.
Yeah. People leave during the novitiate all the time.
People leave all the time. And that's what it's there for. When you agree to enter the Jesuits, you're not agreeing to be ordained. You are just there for the novitiate. Like you go in full-hearted, not with no reservations, but there's a courting process, like an engagement, where at any point in an engagement, you can call it off as well.
When I think back to my own vocation story and how I ended up becoming a Franciscan sister of perpetual adoration, I see how God really only called me to take one step at a time. And I find myself telling discerners that too when I'm meeting with them, that like, I'm not asking you to leap towards final vows forever right now. Like this, like, are you feeling called to do the application? Totally. Like that's what we're discerning here. Does the application, like, do you have energy about that level of commitment? And then do you have energy about the thought of living with sisters and trying this on for a while?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, Julia, is when I have talked to guys and I've told them no, like this isn't going to be a good fit, more often than not, there is a response of relief. Of kind of like, thank you. Like I needed to come check. But like, actually, I really want to be a dad. And like, I'm kind of grateful that you picked up on that too. Like there's almost a relief in a door closing too.
Matt, how did you work through the questions of like other options in your life? Because I mean, our generation, we could do it and be anything practically.
That's right. Yeah, that's a great question. And that's something I worry about for people now is kind of drowning in options.
Yeah.
Because there can become kind of like the Netflixication of life. It's like you spend more time scrolling than you do watching a show, right?
I do that.
Yeah.
You
right?
set up your cue.
We all do that, and then we like look until it's like 10 p.m. and you should just go to bed.
Yeah. I never thought about that. Yeah,
It's
right.
like it's drowning options.
Yeah.
So yeah, for my own story, I think it was a matter of like, so after college, I was a Jesuit volunteer, and that was really important to me, even from high school, was this idea of living and working abroad.
Yeah.
For an extended period of time. So I was in Belize for 2 years and working in young adult ministry and leading retreats and living with the other JVs and really working closely with the church in rural Belize. And I actually made a list. I made a pro and con list of like, what do I want from my life going forward? I didn't want to be a Jesuit. I had thought about it, but it wasn't necessarily the most clear idea. And there was parts of my life in Belize I really liked. And so I was like, well, what do I like here? And so it was living in community, living simply, living close to the materially poor, and having a sense of spirituality. And so then a kind of light bulb went off where I was like, well, you can do this forever. Like you're looking at the paper about what you like. And like as a Jesuit, you can do all of these things.
So that's how you sorted through and sifted through it.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily so clear. This was over months and months, but it was like definitely noticing what I was drawn to and how can I do more of it? How can I be more of my best self? So it was less like applying to college, which felt like, I don't know, everything seems like a good option.
Yeah.
And more to like, who do I want to be? And how do I aim at that person? How do I aim at that guy? I want to be the guy that insert the blanks here. And yeah, so I mean, I dated growing up in high school and college, but I think I'd be a fine dad and a good husband, but that's not necessarily where I was drawn.
Well, I barely dated. and I was just talking with someone about that this morning and how I think that was God's way of like making sure I made this choice. And in which to me is like a story of how God knows us and works with who we are as people. Because God knew that like once I got really involved and excited about somebody, I'd want to jump in the same way I did to my community eventually. Yeah. So there is, I think also paying attention to those signs and kind of like how God meets us where we are and who we are. Right. Yeah. What about the element of surprise for you?
I think there was when I look back on my life, it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense, right? Like every step of the way, Jesuit high school, Jesuit college, Jesuit volunteer corps, become a Jesuit brother. Like it tracks. In the moment, it doesn't seem like that.
Right. There's a lot of people who do that, Matt, and they don't end up Jesuits. So.
That's right. To make my job easier if they did. I think it was just like a radical honesty, and like I don't know if that's nature or nurture or gift or grace or whatever, but a sense of just being like, I want to be authentic, and I want to be authentic to my own desires, and not necessarily doing what I'm supposed to do, whatever that is. Go have a family and make $1 bazillion. Like that's kind of what we're told in our culture is success, and I have never been drawn to that, and so thankfully.
Makes it easier to be a Jesuit.
That's right. Yeah. So the surprise for me is how happy I've been in this life. I think when I joined, I was scared I was going to lose my family and friends. I was going to join this like weird church thing and like miss out. And I think actually the opposite is true. I think most of my very good friends I've met in the Jesuits, and so it's like I have more intimacy in my life now than I actually did on the outside. So that's what people ask. Everyone goes to like the sex question of like, so you can't have sex. And I'm intrigued by the question because our culture is kind of sex obsessed. But I generally find people aren't actually asking about sex. They're asking about intimacy. They want to know if we're lonely. And we're actually, you and I as religious are invited into like the most sacred moments of people's lives. Births and deaths and divorces and stillborns and all the beautiful and horrible things. And so it's like I have a tremendous amount of intimacy, and so do you in our life. Whereas just because you're sexually engaged or sexually active, you can actually be quite lonely, and there is an intimacy there. And so that's an interesting pivot I've learned in answering that question. Is 'cause people tend to hear that answer differently. than the question that they ask.
Yeah. So you said you were aware you could have been a husband and a dad. Did you have a desire that you had to kind of like set aside?
A little bit. I think I realized my desires to be abroad and to be with the poor. I knew that didn't necessarily match up with married life. Like, I think I had an awareness that like being on the move a lot and desiring to move a lot and to live abroad doesn't necessarily match up with the foundation that a married life needs. Now, do married volunteers do it? Sure, people do it.
Yeah, right. I have friends who work for the State Department. That's their life.
Totally. And then
right.
And I think that's beautiful in its own challenge. But yeah, for me it was a desire to be with people fully and not necessarily need to be checking my phone to see if my kid got picked up from daycare.
Yeah.
You know, like I think the gift of our vows is being present at the homeless shelter after hours when the little kids haven't been picked up yet. It's like I don't have to hustle home to cook dinner for 3 kids of my own. I'm there for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in religious life, just like married life, is a life of give and take and dance, like dancing with the responsibilities that all the things that are coming at us and kind of trying to keep a little order in the chaos too, right?
That's right.
I mean, I know you are involved at L'Arche and like you have a real commitment to people with developmental disabilities. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that is if the listeners don't know about L'Arche?
Yeah, sure. So L'Arche is a community for people with and without intellectual and developmental disabilities, and the idea is you share life together. It's really countercultural. There's no output. There's no product. It's not an institution. So Jean Vanier was visited an institution where people were more or less kind of like caged and treated really inhumanely, which was pretty common throughout a lot of history for people who had special needs. And he invited, I think the two, Philippe and Raphael, I think were the two guys. He invited him into his house, and they lived together. And so that's how L'Arche started. And now L'Arche is a federation in every country in the world, and I think every country, it's a lot of countries in the world. And I was assigned to live and work at L'Arche when I was a Jesuit novice as part of our training. And fell in love with L'Arche, fell in love with what it was and what they represented. I think being with people with special needs, people who are different from what society says are, they're not beautiful, they're not successful, they're not always book smart. And they have so much to give. And it's really a school of how to be human. They're radically honest, they're emotionally honest. When they're happy, they tell you. When they're sad, they tell you. There's no pretending. So yeah, I actually was thinking about leaving the Jesuits to stay at L'Arche forever. And an older Jesuit that I admire kind of challenged me and said, like, if this community is important for you, then do it as a Jesuit. Like, you don't need to leave to love these people and incorporate them every step of your journey, and I have. So with the Special Olympics and Best Buddies and now L'Arche here in Chicago, I have made that my home.
What does it mean to be a human fully alive?
I think it means to be in touch with our own smallness and our own fragility and our own brokenness. And I think the people that I like most in life are in touch with those things.
How do you do that?
I surround myself with them. I think they're great. They're, like for me, L'Arche is not ministry. It's a stake in the ground of like who God is inviting me to be, and they're my teachers.
So is it about like authenticity and humility? Is that what humanity is? What it really means to be human?
Yeah, I think what being a human isn't is pretending you have it all together.
Yeah.
Right? Because like we're all broken. I mean, as Catholics, we believe in original sin, and like there's an emptiness and there's a hole that we are perpetually trying to fill. And so frequently we're trying to fill that with accomplishments or sex or drugs or consuming or gambling, all these things that'll never fill the hole. And the hole is God.
Yeah. And how does God fill you up?
God is the ocean that I swim in. I think it's God's vastness is something that I can't get away from even when I pretend to. that like you're still swimming in the same ocean even if you go a different direction. And God's been in my life in really beautiful ways, and the great gift of looking back and seeing where God was in all of it. God was in it when I was in a fraternity and I wasn't really going to church, when I was studying abroad and I was across the street from Vatican City and I was never going to Mass because I didn't understand it in Italian and I was a dumb 20-year-old. God was in all that. And, and I think there's like this great release there for me that this isn't something to be searched for. It's already here. So like wherever anyone's listening from, like God's right there. Yeah. You don't need to go to church for that. I mean, I hope you go to church, but
yeah, it helps.
But it's not just in church. And I think that's something that we have forgotten as a culture, is the divinity all around us.
Yeah. I love the metaphor or fact that God is an ocean. It's one of my favorite images of God. And when I was a novice, I had this, I don't know if it was like a prayer experience or what, but I got like, it occurred to me that God's love was an ocean. It was just so deep and mysterious, and it was, infinite and seemingly. And also, this is another thing, is I think contemplative prayer and being a creative has like helped me to know what it means that God's an ocean. And in contemplative prayer, I sometimes just feel like I'm like falling into something, and then I get really scared and like kind of pull myself out because I'm like, I don't know if I can swim this deep down, right?
Totally.
Yeah. Do you ever have that feeling?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like the image of like St. Peter, like eyes on the Lord, and then he thinks he's gonna drown.
Yeah.
It's like so relevant. It's like it's like I'm with you. I want to be so close to you. I jump right in, and then my own fears and my own worries and my he turns inward. He suddenly is worried that his ability is too small and the ocean's too great.
Right.
And his eyes turn away from the Lord.
Yes.
And like same thing happens with us in our day-to-day life or in our prayer. It's like you only get scared when you forget your relationship, right?
Yeah.
Who is God and who are you?
Yeah.
And sometimes we get it twisted.
We do. Yeah, and you are a serious swimmer.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, so speaking of like discernment and like gifts and talents, like so I've been on swim teams since I was like 5 years old.
You're good at it.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoy it a lot. And kind of stopped competitive swimming when I was 18, went to college, whatever. That chapter of my life was closed. And then the pandemic, all the gyms closed. And so I was like in San Francisco in graduate school, living in Berkeley, and was staring at the San Francisco Bay, and I was like, I gotta get in there. I'm gonna murder one of the people I live with because we all cooped up together.
Because so, you needed to swim.
I need something. I need to get out of here. I'm sure we all felt that. And
no, you're supposed to act like you're a non-violent person.
That's right.
These thoughts don't go through religious.
That's right. We all, if murder was a venial sin, it'd be a lot less religious. We're human just like everybody else. Anyway, so I get in the bay, I start swimming. And then moving here to Chicago, it's been awesome to have Lake Michigan. So last summer I did a pretty big swim for Cristo Rey, one of the low-income schools we run here on the south side of Chicago. And it's been fun to use my talents that God-given fun stuff that I didn't think would be used for ministry. And God's like, actually, I want all of it. I want all of you.
So it's a fundraiser for the school. You're like, it's not like you're joining the high school swim team.
No, yeah. So I swam, exactly. That'd be so weird. Like, who's this old guy? So I swam from Loyola, Chicago on the north side to downtown, symbolizing these graduates' trajectory of success to higher ed to corporations. So it was 8 miles on the lakeshore.
And you had people cheering you along the whole way.
Yeah, there was people cheering, and it was really great. And people were super generous. We raised a ton of money for Cristo Rey. So,
that's so cool.
And I always use this kind of anecdote, not about kind of anything I've done, but that God really wants our gifts and talents. Like, what's the stuff you're good at? Like there's definitely people who can learn from whatever your skills are. Yeah. Be it teaching or gardening or economics, whatever you have a talent in, there are people who could use help with that. And swimming, like that's not ministerial in any way, but it's really prayerful for me. It's something I love, and to be able to use that for God's people is awesome.
Yeah, tell me how swimming's prayer. I'm really not an athlete. I don't really understand how the body. I really need some education.
Totally, yeah. So, I swim in the morning. I swim at sunrise with actually right here in Hyde Park, and there's a whole group of us that swim, and every age and every nationality, and we all come together and swim in the lake. And there's something really wondrous about being in Lake Michigan at sunrise and being so small and something so huge. And kind of that humility is like, you can't turn away from it, because I can't pretend I'm awesome and strong and cool and smart, because I'll drown. Like I'm one hiccup away from drowning every time I get in the lake. And that kind of proximity to death is really grounding. Now I don't do it like anyone listening. Like I'm a pretty good swimmer, so I'm not like putting myself out in danger.
It would be dangerous for me to do this every morning.
Yeah, totally. But you get the same experience just being on the shoreline. Like, I am so small. And this is so huge, and there's this entire ecosystem that I am a part of also. So to immerse my body in it, I just think there's something really beautiful about being like incarnate in my carne, in my meat, and and using my body that God gave me, and that God is in my body and God is in the ocean, and it pulls away any sort of ego I have or any sort of worries I have, where it's really hard to be worried about a meeting I have later, or scheduling all my. It's like you got to worry about your arms and legs and your breathing, or else you're gonna drown. And so there's kind of like a mindfulness to it.
But I think you're being so Catholic by talking about it and how we are incarnate here creatures, and we as Catholics are so sacramental, and so prayer is embodied. And we understand ourselves to be embodied spirits. So I know that, like, I really love liturgy because I'm bowing, sitting, standing, singing, breathing, eating. That's right. Smelling. All the senses are involved, and it's the same for you when you're swimming, huh?
100%. Yeah, it's a liturgy. What's funny is most of the people I swim with are non-Catholics, non-Christians, non-believing, but there's this certain like liturgy that we are a part of, and I'm aware of it, like from like a sociological perspective, not necessarily a religious one. Yeah, we all arrive at the same time to do this thing together that makes us all better, and we show up for each other, and we put on our funny clothes, like our swim outfits, and then we watch the sunrise, and there's this moment of supreme unity and wonder and awe. And then we go to our day. And
do you know each other pretty well? Because you keep doing
we're a great community. Like this. These are my only friends in Chicago because I'm on the road so much. So it's like my swimming friends are my friends, and some of them are middle-aged ladies who swim all year. They swim every single day, all year round. These people are so impressive. But there's something really similar. I think wonder and awe, and a sense of the divine are so close that we sometimes use different words for it. Yeah. Where I'll post like a prayerful reflection about a morning swim or something, and like all of these atheists will be like commenting on it, like that's right, that's awesome. Now I'm using different words than them, and we know that, right? And I'm not trying to convert anyone, right? But I'm using my language, which is liturgical and religious, and they're saying like, yeah, that language matches up to my experience.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can hear how there's really communion. Yeah. So what's communion then?
Yeah, I think in our liturgy it's really represented really well. You know what I love about being Catholic is many things, but I like that you can show up anywhere in the world and you know what's going on at Mass. Like I like that you can be in Jamaica or Rwanda or Vietnam, and if you're at Mass, you might not know the words, but you know where we're at. You know what I mean? You know where we're at in Mass, and I think that's so cool. And I also love the sense of like when we go up for communion, it's our hands are outstretched. You can't cut the line, and you can't take it. You can't take it out of the bowl. It's given to you. And like that sense of like rich and poor, and Ash Wednesday was this week, and like business people are next to janitors or next to homeless people. We're all in line with our hands outstretched because we can't do it alone.
The bread and the wine are blessed, and then they're broken, and then they're shared, which is ultimately the the Christian experience. Like that is the arc of being a human.
That's right.
Is we come into this world blessed because we are children of God, and we were made in God's image and likeness. And we're broken pretty quickly, and yet we're sharing constantly with one another. And so like, and the beauty of the Eucharist and communion is we all partake of this broken bread and receive it into our body. And so then there's this unity because we all are eating the same food. Yeah. And it is physically becoming part of us.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, that's just like, I don't know, like, I love being Catholic for these reasons. That's all the symbols. It's so beautiful.
And we're hardwired for it, right? And I think, like, maybe my cynical part of me worries for my peers who are desperate for community and connection and are finding it in various ways. But, like, my cynical brain, forgive me, dear listener, they don't care about you at Soul Cycle, and they don't care about you at Peloton. You're paying.
I don't even know what you're saying,
these
but
are like,
probably
not.
I'm not there.
Yeah.
Okay.
These like fanatical like workout things that people use and find great meaning in, but that you reach a point where the workout costs together, you're paying them to be there. Like this is us. This is a business. And like there was this great New York Times article about how like Brene Brown and Glennon Doyle and these kind of like modern day digital social media kind of like prophets. But like they're also selling books.
They're booksellers.
They're booksellers, and they have an audience because of their books. And so it's like what they're saying is good, and it can be really healing for a lot of people. And you can show up at church with no money. Yeah. You can show up at at the food pantry with a lot of money. Like no, you know what I mean. The way we operate is different, and there's an economic component to the Catholic Church, of course. I'm not an idiot, but the services aren't priced.
Right. And in fact, sometimes the Catholic Church gets in trouble because people want people to have a certain morality membership card to be able to even engage.
That's right.
Right? Like, oh, this person didn't vote a certain way, or they're doing this ministry to some people that we just don't believe that should be served, and blah, blah, blah. And actually, the Catholic teaching is that, like, all are welcome.
All are welcome.
All are welcome. Yeah. And we're building an inclusive church, aren't we?
That's right. And I think we get that wrong, and I think as a Catholic Church we get it wrong. But yeah, they're all welcome. Vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, Trumpers, AOC fans, whoever. It's like you're all made in the image and likeness of God. And that's what's so radical about our theology is that like there's no one outside. Yeah. There's no one outside. So. Yeah. And the broken, we can confront our brokenness with our discomfort in that, don't we? Totally. And we would prefer to be tribal and hang out with our like-minded folks. Exactly.
And
that's the radicality of Jesus. It's like I think sometimes we can try and make Jesus in our own image and likeness, whatever that is, whatever camp you're a part of. But he hangs out with the rich just as much as he does the poor. Yeah. He's always, like, how do you know Jesus? Because he's getting a free meal from someone. Can't turn a page in the Bible without somebody inviting him over for dinner. Yeah. It's like, how did the disciples in the boat recognize him at the resurrection on the beach? It was like, oh, that guy making lunch? That's definitely Jesus. Yeah. He's always eating.
I know, we depict him so thin, but that's just because he walked a lot. It wasn't about his eating. That's right. Yeah. So, Matt, for you, what does it mean to be a disciple of Jesus?
I think, to use a Pope Francis, St. Ignatius, Loyola line, but like it's to be a love sinner. And it's to hold both sides of that statement. I think we can want to shy to one side or the other. We can lean heavy into our own sinfulness, or we can lean heavy into our own belovedness. But if we're not actually holding both, I'm doing something wrong. Is that I am loved and I'm a sinner. And I think secular language feels uncomfortable around the idea of sin, but I know myself. You know what I mean? Like I am in need of God's grace every moment and every day. And as soon as I lose sight of that, I'm not doing it. It's become about me. And the other side, like if I just go hard into the sin, which is some sort of like a weird Catholic comfort zone, is like we can feel too comfortable in the sin part, but without like grace and like the resurrection happened. So like the sacraments are real. So like
we are redeemed people, actually.
We're redeemed. Now that doesn't let us off the hook.
Right.
Right? And I think that I would say, yeah, certain circles of Catholicism can kind of feel like, well, we're all good. It's like, well, like, I don't know. So yeah, what does it mean to be a disciple? Yeah, to be a love sinner. And like, what's your thing? I don't know. I think so much of our world, it's like, what's your thing? I want to be a generator of joy in this world. And that's me being really authentic and offering what I have to God's people.
Yeah. But it is a constant balancing act. And I think that's what I'm hearing with your answer of being a disciple means to be a loved sinner. That it is this dance of both and all the time. And knowing like, okay, yeah, I need to be real. That's a limit. I don't have the capacity for that. That's a weakness of mine. And I have this strength that I can latch onto and I can let glow brighter. And yeah.
Like how do we Sister Norma has this great quote. I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's something like God's given you everything. Like none of this is ours. None of this is of our own making. Yeah. So like our job is to give it all back to God and not hold anything back. And that's scary. Because like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? And it's like, well, that's, for me, I think, especially when I was a younger religious, was like, yeah, God, you can have like 87% of me, but I want to keep some of this stuff for me. You know what I mean? Or like, I want to keep some stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, what's going on there? That we can't just let it all go.
Yeah. Give it our weaknesses as well as our strength.
Here's it all.
The whole package.
Here's and like, we kind of did this funny Adam and Eve thing. Like we pretend like God doesn't know us fully and didn't make us.
Right.
And it's like, well, you don't know about this part. And it's like, yeah, who are we fooling? You know what I mean? Like,
can't hide
right?
who you are from your maker.
Totally. And I think Genesis is so helpful for like just how humans are.
Yeah.
It's like, we somehow think that like we can hide. It's like, what?
Yeah. Right. Huh. Someone told me that they went to a final vows liturgy for a sister once. I think it was in India, and there was this giant banner that over the altar during her profession that just said, take me, Jesus, you can have all of me, or something. And it had this major impression, like that was the theme of her vows. But the person, like this, going back to sex again, came back and told me the story as, isn't that hilarious? Doesn't that sound like something you would say to someone in sex? And I was like, well, I don't really know, but I think both are about love and intimacy, right?
Totally.
So. And
how do we? I mean, that's what I always tell people if I'm praying at a wedding or whatever. It's like, in the Catholic tradition, the couple gives the sacrament to each other. Yeah. The priest is just there to make sure that it doesn't go off the rails. But like in that love, the community, it's always in front of people. The community is learning. It's a small reflection of how God loves us. Yeah. It's so fully and it's so true, and it's sickness and long life or short or whatever. And like we get to see a little glimmer of how much God loves us through the couple. So yeah, there's a lot of connections of intimacy, and I think intimacy and spirituality are like overlapped.
Oh,
these aren't separate. I mean, if you're inviting, like what you were saying about contemplative prayer, if you're inviting to be overwhelmed by the waters of God's love, what's more intimate than that? I mean, that's as vulnerable as one can be.
Right. Yeah. So the reality, though, we both know this is like this isn't easy. It's a real struggle.
Sure.
And every day is a challenge, and there's crosses we got to pick up and carry as we're following Jesus. So Matt, for you, what is messy about living the gospel?
It'd be a lot easier not to believe in God. I'd be a millionaire.
I can see that. You have that white man physique. You would be able to just climb that ladder so easily.
Totally. What's the messy part? The messy part is keep showing up. How do you keep showing up? How do you keep showing up in a church that is broken and run by people at times that are not making good choices? How do you continue to show up for marginalized communities and continue to show up for your family and continue to show up for yourself? It's like, that's messy.
Yeah.
But I joined the Society of Jesus. That's why I'm here. It's not the society part, it's the Jesus part that I'm here. So yeah, the messiness is the human stuff that's in every organization. I think the church has learned a lot since you and I joined religious life. And I'm actually very proud of the way that the church has responded to a lot of various crises and whatnot. But yeah, if tomorrow, if there's more stuff in the news, that's horrible news for us. From a corporation perspective, it's like, I'm not shocked by that. Like, this is who we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's messy.
So it's commitment.
It's commitment. But like, this is my team. I'm all in. So there is a movement, I think, in society to like dash down all organizations, cancel them, because they're all rooted in the horrible things. Like, maybe that's true, and maybe it's manifested that way. And we're rooted in the gospel. So like, what is the world hungry for right now? It's hope and mercy.
That's the good news we have to proclaim.
That's our wheelhouse. So like, hope and mercy. That's the resurrection.
Thank you so much, Matt, for coming on Messy Jesus Business.
It's great to be here with you, sister. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to plug for the listeners to look up if they thought you were charming and they're curious about how to support your swimming and travels?
I apologize for anything heretical I might have said. Follow me on Instagram at @br_Matt.
Okay, great.
Thanks.
Thank you. I invite you to join me in this contemplative moment. Brother Matt Wooters is a member of the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuits, and the founder of the Jesuits is St. Ignatius of Loyola. One of St. Ignatius of Loyola's writings is the Suscipe, which is Latin for accept. I'm going to read for you that prayer now, and I invite you to pray with me and consider what you are being invited to offer to God in this moment on this day. The Suscipe by St. Ignatius of Loyola. Take, Lord, and receive all my liberty, my memory, my understanding, and my entire will, all I have and call my own. You have given all to me. To you, Lord, I return it. Everything is yours. Do with it what you will. Give me only your love and your grace. That is enough for me. Amen. That's it for this episode of Messy Jesus Business. Thanks for listening. Messy Jesus Business is produced and hosted by me, Sister Julia Walsh, and edited by Cherish Bedzinski. You can find us online at messyjesusbusiness.com and on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. If you like what you heard, please be sure to mention our podcast to your friends and followers. And we'd love to have your support via Patreon. From the bottom of our hearts and the middle of the mess, thank you. Messy Jesus Business is produced in partnership with the Franciscan Sisters of Perpetual Adoration. You can learn more about our religious community and donate to our mission at www.fspa.org. I'm Sister Julia Walsh, and I'll catch up with you next time. Until then, peace and all good.